All right, RezaieStrong followers. So the skinny on cheat meals and days. So I've got to tell you that, let me start right off by saying I do intermittent fasting. I do 20 hours of fasting and 4 hours to eat. And essentially, I'm eating one meal a day. And I do give myself cheat days. And this has really become a fad on social media. But I'm not sure that I really knew what the evidence for or against it was, but it's certainly something I do. And so I thought we would go through that. So first of all, let me start off by saying that whatever diet you're on, it doesn't really matter. It's just one that you can stick to and one that doesn't rob you of the joy of eating, I think are the two big things. And essentially what I'm getting at is it's all about moderation. You can't be too extreme one way and you can't be too extreme the other way. And so it's got to be something that's sustainable for the long haul. Now let's talk about some hormones. So some of the key hormones in terms of like our hunger cravings are leptin, ghrelin, and cortisol. So leptin is secreted by adipose tissue and it gives us the sense of feeling full. Ghrelin and cortisol, on the other hand, give us a sense of feeling hungry. And this is the problem when those of us who are doing intermittent fasting or on these extreme diets, what we're doing is we're basically driving leptin down, which means that ghrelin and cortisol are going up. And so the overall thing with this is that we end up being hungry. And this is why it's hard for us to kind of stick to these extreme diets. And that's where this idea of cheat days comes in. So the closest study I could find on cheat days was this one, the Matador trial, published in the International Journal of Obesity in 2018. I didn't even know that was a journal, but that's where this study was published. And what they did is they took 47 obese males, and at baseline, they randomized them into two groups. So both groups got kind of this 4-week period of determining their energy needs and baseline weight. And then the first group ended up doing this continuous energy restriction, which was basically a 33% reduction in the calories that they took in for 16 weeks. The second group did this thing called intermittent energy restriction, where for 2 weeks at a time, they would drop their caloric intake by 33%, and they would alternate this with 2 weeks of taking their caloric intake back up to 100%. So they were never exceeding 100% of their base in terms of calories that they needed. And then at the end of it, they did kind of a post-diet weight. And so what did the results show? So the people who did the intermittent energy restriction ended up having a greater weight loss of about 47% compared to the continuous energy restriction group. And that was in all comers. Now, for the people that actually completed the trial, did the full 16 weeks, the intermittent energy restriction actually resulted in a 58% weight loss. The problem with this study is nobody really cheated. Nobody ever really went over their 100% of energy needs. To me, a cheat day is a day where you kind of splurge and kind of enjoy yourself for all the hard work that you've done. And so a little bit about cheat days is there's no real scientific evidence for cheat days, but I do think there is a psychological component because continuous dieting with no breaks is just not sustainable for the long haul. How do I do cheat days? I follow the 90-10 rule. Some people advocate for the 80-20 rule. So basically, I do 9 days of intermittent fasting, and on the 10th day, I give myself a cheat day. So in other words, every month, I get 3 cheat days. I find that, at least for me, it gets rid of a lot of those hunger cravings that I have. It gives me a goal to try and go for so that when I am having hard days on those 9 days, I know what's coming on the 10th day. So I've like scheduled this. I think it's important to schedule cheat days and not just do them willy-nilly because that's how we kind of get away from habit formation and the ability to stick with a plan. So there you go. That's the skinny on cheat meals and days. There's no real good evidence for it, but I do think from a hormonal component and a psychological component, there is some skin in the game, so to speak. Let me know your thoughts, comments, and questions. Thank you as always for tuning in, And until next time.